Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and here today we do have the big one. That is the Old Firm preview between Rangers and Celtic, the first Old Firm match of the season. I am really excited for it, but before we do get into the video preview, guys, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Scottish football content. Okay guys, let's get straight into the preview and discuss both of these teams. I'm going to start with the home side first, that of course being Rangers, and so far this season, performance-wise, Rangers haven't been that great. They just have looked a lot lacklustre, like making individual errors, defensive mistakes, and just haven't had the urgency to get forward and create loads of chances. The performances last year were just so high. Obviously they went invincible. That's happened 4 times in Scottish football history, so it just shows how good Rangers actually were, and has been a huge drop-off, which is natural. That's usually going to happen when you have a really good season, but not to this sort of detriment that Rangers are just looking like they're very poor. Albeit Rangers haven't set the world alight on the park, the media would lead you to believe that Rangers are having an absolute disastrous season, which isn't the case going into this first Old Firm and this first sort of international break. Rangers have matched every single result that Celtic have, really. They both won out of the Champions League, they both got to the Europa League group stages, they both won 2 games in the league, they both lost 1 game in the league, and they both progressed into the quarter-final of the League Cup. So they're pretty much on the same wavelength, really, but I do agree, Rangers' performances haven't been great, and I don't know what that comes down to. Well, I kind of do. There is other fundamentals that may come into place, like players coming back late from international duty, players maybe not having a full pre-season with the squad, players having European suspensions, i.e. Glenn Kamara, Kemar Roofe not being able to play the same starting 11. So I do feel there are some other fundamentals that do come into play. However, look, Rangers need to find that level that they did last year, and need to kind of find it quickly. And I think the international break has come at the right time, but they do have this massive game in front of them. Rangers have started to show a bit better performances last weekend against Ross County. They were showing some levels of last year, urgency to get forward and create chances. Also had spells where they made mistakes, and obviously Ross County conceded 2, where they looked a bit off the boil again. So they need to find that level of consistency over 90 minutes. So I guess if you're a Rangers fan, you were fairly confident after that match, put in a decent performance, scored 4 goals. But then if you looked at the performance on Thursday, the most recent game that Rangers have played, and then you said, if I going off that match, will Rangers win the Old Firm? I would have told you absolutely not. But there's loads of different fundamentals from that 0-0 draw in Armenia. Look, Rangers had disruption to their squad with the whole COVID-19 outbreak. You don't know what went on there. They then flew 2,500 miles to get to Armenia, and then they played in 35-degree heat. Again, it doesn't sound too much, but 35-degree heat, considering you're from playing in Scotland in a summer that usually is around 15, 16, 17 degrees, and they're playing in an extra 20 degrees heat with no climatization. It's a lot to ask, even for an athlete, and they did get the job done and managed to get there. So I wouldn't really gauge this Sunday's performance off Rangers' last performance, because it's completely different, and I would take those fundamentals into consideration when thinking about Sunday's match. Now, moving on to the predicted 11 for Rangers, this is where it gets a little complicated. As we said, there was a bit of a COVID-19 outbreak. Again, look, no one was confirmed who was positive, negative, etc, but the players who didn't travel to Alshka were Alan McGregor, John McLaughlin, James Tavernier, Scott Wright, Calvin Bassey, and Ryan Kent. Again, I just want to clarify, though, we're not clear who was positive, injured, or just deemed a close contact. So things could change for Sunday. We do not yet know whether those players will be involved or not. However, what I can confirm is that Kemar Roofe and John Lundstrom will return to the fold. Obviously, they didn't travel to Alshka, obviously due to the suspension, but they can play on Sunday. So there is a bit of a boost there, but my predicted 11 of what I think is going to happen for Rangers, I do think the 2 goalkeepers are out with COVID, so I'll probably put Robbie McCrory in goal there for Rangers. On the left, again, look, I'm just going to go with the whole story that Bassey's not going to be able to play, but Barisic is going to come in there for Rangers. But Barisic needs to be a lot better. He was so poor on Thursday. He's been poor all season, but needs to do a lot better. He needs to find that level of performance he has over the last couple of years. Hollander, Goldson as the centre-backs, and at right-back, Nathan Patterson. He was really good on Thursday, albeit he made a little mistake now and then, but he was very good. I think he was one of them key players that was trying to make things happen. In the midfield, I think that will go unchanged as well. I think it's going to go Scott Arfield, Steve Davis and Glenn Kamara. I think that's the strongest three. Again, not too keen on John Lundstram yet from a Rangers perspective. I don't know all about him just yet. Maybe it might be a game for him to shine, but so far I'd keep it to that midfield three. Up top, you've got to have Alfredo Morelos now. His goal drought with Celtic is completely finished. He is Rangers' best option of scoring goals, and I would even go with Kemar Roofe and Joe Aribo. Joe Aribo has been really, really good form this season, so I'd have that as a front three. Hadji has been okay, but it does go a bit inconsistent at times. But that is my predicted starting 11 there for Rangers. There's a lot of talk that Ryan Kent had a hamstring injury. We'll see what happens there. But if he's fit and he didn't have any COVID cases, then he needs to play that game because he's a big player for Rangers, especially in those Old Firm matches. Okay, moving on to the away side, that being Celtic. And Celtic are kind of opposite to Rangers in terms of performance levels. Celtic have looked really, really good and kind of set the world alight at the moment in the Scottish Premiership. People are kind of talking about Celtic now being the favourites going into this match. At the start of the season, they did lose that opening game against Hearts. And after that match, I kind of came out and said that it's going to be a very long season for Celtic because there was no cohesion. There didn't look like there was a plan with that Celtic side. However, fast forward a week, they went on a 6-game winning streak and looked really, really good. And it's not just about the 6 wins on the bounce. It was about the way they were winning matches, really putting teams to the sword, creating loads and loads of chances and scoring lots and lots of goals. With the new signings getting integrated, the recruitment's been really good at Celtic at the moment. Thiago Furuhashi looks like a real good coup. Leah Labada going forward also. Ryan Christie coming back into form. So there's a lot of key fundamentals going forward for Celtic that they make them look like a real good side. However, I do think Celtic still have their weaknesses, which is that defence, and I think Celtic fans know all about that as well. Celtic's defence isn't at the level. I've already said this at the start of the season, that the fullbacks weren't good enough going into the season, albeit they have really put themselves up a level. Anthony Ralston, Greg Taylor, they look like really good first team 11 players now, but the defence itself is still weak for me. Yes, they've changed the goalkeeper. Joe Hart looks better than Barkas and Scott Bain, etc., but still there's something missing in that Celtic defence, and I don't know whether it is a centre half or just no experience there. Carl Starfelt, Stephen Welsh, but yeah. We said on Thursday there, AZ Alkmaar really going at it. AZ had something to play for, kind of Celtic, kind of sat off. We've seen a different Celtic side that we weren't used to, because Celtic are usually all out attacking and really trying to kill off teams. But AZ went forward and started attacking and went in there and caused Celtic's defences a lot of problems. Joe Hart making individual errors, along with Carl Starfelt with the own goal. So that could be a worrying factor going into this one, should Celtic come in a little bit of heat like they did against AZ Alkmaar. But going forward, they definitely have a good side, which brings me now to my predicted 11 here for this Celtic side. I think they're going to go with the same sort of team that they've been playing with. Joe Hart in goal, Greg Taylor, he came off injured, but I think it was just a sore shoulder. I think he'll be fine. Yeah, he's probably going to start for me there for Greg Taylor. Their defence is Carl Starfelt, Stephen Welsh. You want to keep Beaton away from it, from big moments, big games. He's always blowing it for Celtic. So you want Stephen Welsh, Carl Starfelt, give him a chance. And Ralston as a right back, as I said earlier on, he's been really good for Celtic as of late. In the midfield, of course, I'd have Callum McGregor. He's looked good as the captain. David Turble's been equally as good for Celtic as well. And probably Tom Rogic. I think Tom Rogic is starting to play really good and come back to his level of consistency under Ange Postecoglou. Up top, I would go with Ryan Christie, Leah Labada and Thiago Furuhashi. Yeah, that's right. I would leave Odsonne Edouard out of this one. There's a bit of talk about him going to Everton or something like that. But right now, I think Celtic are a better side without him. And when he came on against AZ Alkmaar, I think he did play his bit. In terms of defensively, kind of for the team, he was really good for Celtic when he came on. So that could be an option should Celtic take the lead and they go into the later stages against Rangers. However, I would go for a front three of Thiago Furuhashi, Ryan Christie and Leah Labada. Leah Labada looks also really good. So we've gone through my both the predicted 11. We've both gone through both of these sides. Now it's the talk about the match. And I'm so unsure about this match. I really am. Because after Thursday, if it got to Thursday, I would have said Celtic were probably going to go on and win this game. Just because I didn't think Rangers had hit the levels that I've seen this season. But I'm a bit of a philosopher of football. And I looked at a lot of the results that Celtic were getting, and they've been at home. They've been, really good at home. But when I look at the away trips for Celtic this season, against Hearts at Tynecastle, lost. Against Jablonec, a really bad team, but conceded a lot of goals, 2 goals. And then against AZ there, just losing away from home. It gives I suppose, Rangers maybe a slight bit of hope, I suppose, that they could go on there and really cause problems to the defence. I think if Rangers can go at their defence, there could be goals. But equally, I do think the same with Celtic. If Celtic go at Rangers' defence, there could be goals. But Rangers haven't hit the performance to suggest that they are going to be going all-out attacking. So it's so weird. I don't know how it's going to be played. And I think it might cancel out each other. I don't know. I really don't know how it's going to go down. I'm really intrigued, though. I really am intrigued. I'm really looking forward to it. But I can't. Usually I can sort of see an idea of how it's going to go. I just can't. I can't put my finger on how it's going to go. I always thought like Ange Postecoglou was just going to go all out attacking and try and win the game that way. But after Thursday's game, where AZ were all out attacking, it just kind of counteracted it and made Celtic kind of sit back for a bit. So I don't know. But both defences need to be on their best performance. And I can't really pick a winner. And I'm going to go for the cop-out. And I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. That is my honest opinion. I've been thinking about this game all week. And yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. I think both of them are going to cancel each other out. And I think both of the defences are going to cause a bit of a problem for both of the sides. So I've gone for a 2-2 draw, guys. We will be live for this game on Sunday. As always, please make sure you do tune in for that. Make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for more Scottish football content. Thank you so much for tuning in. And guys, most importantly, please do get your score prediction down there in the comment section below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.